To the 12 tribes of the children of Israel scattered abroad, in the name of Jehovah our Creator and Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the King who rules the world, happy Sabbath and greeting to you and your household. And this is Lily of the Valley. This is part 2 of the climate change Bahamian Prime Minister touring Abaco. Now, the Bahamas got a couple of warnings, like when we had Hurricane Matthew. Jamaica did a 24-hour prayer chain. It went and it hit Haiti, America, and Bahamas. I'm not sure why, but our prayers worked. But Bahamas also sells tourism, and with tourism comes like the selling of sin. So if you're importing sin into your country and whatever else comes with it, I'm not sure if Haitians are there doing anything, but you have to have witnesses before you accuse people of doing things. So we hear a lot about Bahamas and the problems, but the island, the sea was so dry in Bahamas the other day too. Remember, all these signs are in Revelation. It tells you that there are going to be no more seas, islands going to be moving out of their places. These climate calamities have been prophesied from the days of Adam till now. The scientists told you all that the Bible wasn't real, but now you're seeing that the scientists are not real because they can't tell you what to do. But the Jehovah already told us what to do. We got to be righteous and we got to prepare for these things. So the UN talked about how much hell it was down there, and it said with the aftermath of Dorian, the Bahamas brought into stark reality that the phenomenon of climate change refugees in the Caribbean is not limited to Barbuda in 2017, because Antigua had to take Barbudans in when their island was destroyed. In the complete decimation of Barbuda, the entire population had to be evacuated to Antigua. Similarly, large numbers of people had to be moved from Abaco Islands, where little was left to sustain livelihoods. These large movements of people were possible in the Bahamas and Antigua and Barbuda because they were done within the same national jurisdiction. Refugees from Barbuda after Hurricane Irma were accommodated on Antigua, and those from the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas have been billeted in Nassau. But had the territory of the Bahamas not been a chain of islands, and had Antigua and Barbuda not been a single state, the people from the Abaco Islands and Barbuda would have had to seek refuge outside of their own national borders. Now remember, children of Israel, the earth is ours. The Most High gave us jurisdiction over the earth. When you let in a lot of people from the other nations, that's when you had visa restrictions, travel restrictions. So we could always move from island to island, continent to continent, earth to earth, because Joshua told the children of Israel, wherever the sole of their feet shall tread, they'll possess the land. That comes from our Father Jehovah. So we are supposed to live in commonwealth, like when we were ruling in the Holy Roman Empire, when we were ruling in the East, when we ruled in the West, we had Commonwealth of Nations. We still have Commonwealth of Nations in CARICOM and other countries. Now that we're identifying our brethren worldwide, the Most High already said we won't come across all the cities of Israel until Shiloh comes. So we always have to know, identify who the Israelites are in the earth, have plans in place. If this island goes down, where we're going to move to, where we're going to go, things like that, because of course, you know, we have always been a moving people. A lot of us have stayed put, but now we're seeing the latter days are upon us and the apocalypse is here, and everybody's like, woe is me, woe is me. Well, why didn't they teach their children from Bible days that this thing was coming and to plan for it? So righteousness is really what will save us out of these things that are coming. The Most High said, only with our eyes will behold and see the reward of the wicked. So whatever they did to the Most High's children, it's going to come upon their people. So we're seeing a lot of that now happening in Europe and other nations, that they're getting a lot of problems that we Israelites already went through. We go through hurricanes, problems, slavery, captivity, slaughter, Jim Crow, discrimination, syphilis experiments, all of that stuff you're going to see coming upon the enemies of the children of Israel. Okay? So, but the U.S. is not open to non-citizens and residents It was evident when a non-US visa holder were decanted from a ship taking refugees from the Bahamas. So you see, the Israelites were in these Americas before Columbus came, before anybody else came. We have been over here from the days of the Phoenicians and Solomon. That's King David's son. When Columbus came over here, he brought a whole bunch of Hebrew interpreters because the Hebrews have been here. If you want to know how Hebrew is scattered into your language, look at Jamaica. Jamaica. Jah is I am, or Jah is short for Jehovah. Micah is also in the Bible. So we have always been Jehovah's children. The Negroes. Nigger comes from Acts 13 verse 1. Simeon also called nigger or nega or negrella or negrito, negrita. Same thing. It simply means black. When Solomon says, I'm black and comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, I am black. Kedar means dark skin. Duby in Ireland from Dublin means black. Scorched means wanderer. We are always the wandering Jews going all over the earth. You'll find Jamaicans in just about every country. You'll find Negroes in every country. So we always have to be prepared to move. Okay? Caribbean needs their own boat. They need their own medical team. They need their own everything. They need to build for flood, hurricane, and also earthquakes. Like Bahamas is very flat, so they might have to have a lot of 3-story concrete buildings, the underground portion to rise them up above the flood, the middle portion for hurricane rescue, and the top portion probably if there's going to be an earthquake, you go on the top and you build the roofs to more than 200 miles per hour standard that it can with those kind of winds. You have to rebuild, and you have to build on righteousness. You cannot sell sin and import sin and expect your islands to remain righteous. We importing a lot of carnivals, bacchanals, Santeria, Obia, Buddhism, Hinduism, a whole bunch of isms. Be careful who you send in these citizenships and importing in your countries. They have already wrecked the Middle East, wrecked Asia, wrecked Europe, and now look where they're coming with these stuff. We were living and dwelling in safety in these islands and these Americas, serving our Creator in peace and in truth, enjoying the fruit of the land, enjoying our company. When the oppressors came, all of that changed. Okay? So the book of Enoch, this is the heavenly tablets and the mission of Enoch. He already told us that the earth was going to be in chaos towards the end. And the rich especially, they're going to get it more than anybody else. Okay, so it says, perversion of nature and the heavenly bodies owing to the sin of men. So it's not coal fart, it's not carbon dioxide, it's not no whole bunch of nothing else causing climate change except sin. This the Gretas of the world. Sweden is more liberal now than France. France used to be the most liberal. Canada liberal. So liberal behavior is vile behavior, and it leads to destruction of the earth. They're not for human rights or human beings, because they promote a lot of degeneracy that leads to the destruction of the earth, the animals, and everything. Whose people it is that go and kill the animals and pose with them as trophies? Whose people send abortion ships to the Caribbean? Whose people have the syphilis and the AIDS experiments and the Jim Crow laws and the feeding the babies to the alligators and the sacking of Jerusalem and the homosexual transgenderism, pushing it on the islands who are pushing back against it? Whose people are doing those things? Whose people have the hangings and the KKK and all of these things, that wars upon wars upon wars? The Bible said, by their deeds ye shall know them. So whose people is it that's practicing sorcery, idolatry, atheism, all of these things? Sterilizing people, injecting them with disease, patenting disease, having mixed breeds and what you call it now, cloning. Who's doing all of those things? Who invent robots to replace people? Who don't take care of the elders and put them in nursing homes? Who is it that do those things? Who kill up the babies and abort them and store them in jars? Who's doing those things? Who push abortion in the black neighborhoods and in the black countries, go there to depopulate their people? Who does all of that? Isn't that what's called sin? And in the days And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened. So they're wondering why now some people get 30, 40, 70 years. It's already prophesied. In the beginning, they used to get 1,000 years. When Christ comes back, we'll get everlasting life. So know these things. Know these things, okay? And their seed shall be tardy on the lands and fields, and all things on the earth shall alter. All things. And shall not appear in their time, and the rain shall be kept back, and the heavens shall withhold it. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time. And the fruits of the trees shall be withheld in their time, and the moon shall alter her order, and not appear at her time. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. And many chiefs of the stars shall transgress the order prescribed, and these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and shall not appear in seasons prescribed to them, and the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners. Because remember, there's a lot of stargazers out there now, like the Catholic Church and those, okay? And these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at the seasons prescribed to them, and the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners, and the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them, and they shall be altered from all their ways. Yea, they shall err and make them to be gods, and evil shall be multiplied upon them, and punishment shall come upon them, so as to destroy all. Now, when the Most High say, when his saints are going to be in the deserts, and water is going to come in the desert to them, this is the sacred writings of Saint Jerome. You can look at Hebrews 11 verse 38, Isaiah 35 verse 1 onwards, Isaiah 43 verse 18 to 19, and I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. So this is his letter 2 to Theodosius and the rest of the anchorites, written from Antioch 374 AD. While Jerome was still in doubt as to his future course, Theodosius appears to have been the head of the solitaries in the Syrian desert. How I long to be a member of your company, and with uplifting of all my powers to embrace your admirable community, though indeed these poor eyes are not worthy to look upon it. Oh, that I could behold the desert, lovelier to me than any city. Oh, that I could see those lonely spots made into a paradise by the saints that throng them. But since my sins prevent me from thrusting into your blessed company, a head laden with every transgression, I adjure you, and I adjure you, let's see. I adjure you, and I know that you can do it, by your prayers to deliver me from the darkness of this world. I spoke of this when I was with you, and now in writing to you I repeat anew the same request, for all the energy of my mind is devoted to this one object. Okay? It rests with you to give effect to my resolve, as I have the will but not the power. This last can only come in answer to your prayers. All right, so you see the paradise in the desert, because when the saints were there, the Most High sent the food there and the water there to refresh them and to save them. So don't worry about climate change. We have a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem coming. It tells you the earth is mostly destroyed in the book of First and Second Esdras. In Revelation 21 and 22, you see a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem coming for the saints, those who make it to the end, who keep the commandments. You have to keep the Bible, the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Get a 1611 with Apocrypha. It includes all the generations of the children of Israel and what's going to happen to them in their generations. So you have to keep the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the ordinances, the Sabbaths, the judgments, the holy days, the dress code, the righteousness, and the faith of Jesus Christ. It's in the book. The only thing you don't have to do anymore is to sacrifice goat lambs and so on for sin, because Jesus became the sacrifice for sin. So the Levitical priesthood was nailed to the cross and everything that went with that. But you see how the church was set up in the book of Acts. That's how we have to be in our households, in our countries, in our nations, so that we don't have sin among us, and we have to be righteousness. Blessed is the man who dies in righteousness and goodness, concerning whom there is no book of unrighteousness written, against whom no day of judgment shall be found. So all who want to say, oh God this and oh God that, who have done been warned. Okay, everybody is known by their deeds, whether they're going to be righteous or whether they're going to be wicked. So when there's no rain, there's a reason why, and a lot of countries are running out of water right now. So Deuteronomy 11 verse 17, then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven that there be no rain, that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly off the good land which the Lord giveth you. So righteousness brings rain, but sin brings no rain. 1 Kings 8:38, when the heaven is shut up and there is no rain, because they have sinned against thee, if they pray towards this place and confess thy name and turn from their sin, when thou afflictest them, that's when rain will come. So we're going to have a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem. John 14 verse 3, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, ye may be there also. That's why Christians, believers, Hebrews, Israelites, we don't worry about the signs of the times. We plan for it and we remain righteous, because we know even if we die, we're going to come back to life in the new heaven, the new earth, the new Jerusalem. So it's always a win-win with our Jehovah. That's why we love him so, and nobody can separate us from the love of God. Even though you see the white British trying to push homosexuality on Cayman, Jamaica, Dominica, all of us who are trying to be righteous, every time they push that on us, it's going to return 100-fold upon their own heads and their own lands. That's why they have negative birth rates. And that's why the Saracens have taken over their countries, because our forefathers fought these wars to keep us in righteousness away from the heathen. But now they open the door and let them in and expect peace and safety. Okay. John 14 verse 2, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you, I go to prepare a place for you. Isaiah 57 verse 13, when thou criest, let thy companies deliver thee, but the wind shall carry them all away. You and it shall take them, but he that putteth his trust in me shall possess the land and shall inherit my holy mountain. So Negroes have all the baby you want. See, they're paying everybody now to come and populate the earth, because it's been depopulated because of degenerate behavior. People who don't give birth, they only live one generation, and that's their lifetime that they live. When they're dead, somebody else who give birth take their lands. It's as simple as that. 1 Samuel 12 verse 20, and Samuel said unto the people, fear not, ye have done all this wickedness. Turn not aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. And turn ye not aside, for then should ye go after vain things which cannot profit, nor deliver, nor are vain. So they see now that their scientists and their predictions, they ain't profiting them nothing. There was acid rain when I was little bit. I never saw that in my life before. They prophesied that, didn't come to pass. What happens when you prophesy things and it doesn't come to pass? You're a false prophet. Or if the Most High change his mind towards people, if they're righteous, you can pray and it doesn't happen. But most of these scientists are of the devil, except the Christian ones who know what's going on. Because Daniel was skilled in the sciences, Abraham too. All the children of Israel are skilled in the sciences, but are righteous sciences. Abraham knew astronomy, taught the Egyptians science and mathematics. Check Josephus, you'll see that. The Hebrews taught the philosophers of Greece and Rome and their teachings. That's why you see some of their philosophies are mixed with the Bible. So the Most High teaches from scratch. He keeps us writing and learning in all our generations, so we can train in righteousness, so that each generation we don't wonder why this, why that, why did we have to go into slavery. You went into slavery because of your sins. Deuteronomy 28. And you said to Jesus, let our sins be upon us and our children's children. Everything you tell the Most High is going to be upon you. So the righteous of the Israelites went to set up the kingdoms, to fight the holy wars, to teach the hurt, and the rest of the unrighteous one went into slavery and poverty and all of those things. It's happening to this day. Choose the righteous side of the Bible to live on, and you will reap the righteousness. For the Lord will not forsake his people for his great name's sake. You hear that? Because it has pleased the Lord to make you his people. That's why we name Jah children. Jah is short for Jehovah. We are the children of Jehovah. We're the children of Israel. Jamaicans are the one who sing about being children of Israel forever and ever. We sing about Babylon and Zion and Rome. Why you think that is? Because that's what we know. That's what we learned. That's where our parents were. We fight against oppression because the Most High said we must love justice and mercy, and we must practice righteousness. We must free from degenerate behavior. So don't let nobody impose that on you because they want you to take you to hell with them. Know the children of Satan different from the children of Israel. Okay. So Judges 10 verse 14. Him said the people that may cry out now who not have no water, they can't drink their oil and eat them sand. But they refuse to stop worshipping Cabal and animism and ancestor worship and shrines and mosque upon mosque and idol upon idol. Even though they see their earth collapsing around them, do you think they're turning to righteousness? No. They get more shrines, they get more things, and they add sin on top of sin. So all the people in Haiti, Louisiana, in Africa, in Europe, in America, because in America they worship the United States flag. That's what the Romans did. They worship their standards. So if you listen to the words of the United States anthem, it's still worshiping a standard or a flag. They still worship the days of the week according to the idols that they worshipped in Europe. The months of the year still have that. The planets that the Canaanites were worshiping, they even had more to it, and that's what they worship. That's why you see the Catholics and all of them have these star studying apparatus that they use, but the Most High is dimming the stars now, so there ain't gonna be no stars to study. And even when they go to the sea for water, the sea is gonna be no more. It says that in Revelation, and the fish, they're gonna die off. Scientists don't know these things. So Judges 10 verse 12. The Zidonians and the Amalekites and the Maonites did oppress you, and he cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, we have sinned. Do unto us whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray thee, this day. And they put away the strange gods from among them and served the Lord. And his soul grieved for the misery of Israel. So only righteousness can save you, no? Okay? So the thing is, nothing where them a worship can bring water into the desert. But when our saints were righteous, the Most High sent water. Because he controls everything he created. Okay? The Deuteronomy 32, Israel sins, earth sins lead to punishment. But Jeshurun waxed fat and cake. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with a fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils and not to God, to gods whom they knew not to new gods that came newly up, whom their fathers feared not. So the new gods is climate change, scientists, and so on. So you see the climate change, scientists are them new god. The theory of evolution, that's them new god, because none of the ancients worship those or preach that. Okay? So that's what's wrong with the earth now. They have become their own gods. So places around the world running out of water. United Arab Emirates, one of them, highest per capita consumption of water in the world. Them can't drink them sand, them oil and eat them sand, but they refuse to serve Jesus Christ. They have their own gods in the desert that they worship. So the name of the God of Israel, for those who don't know, we're in the Middle East turning towards that cobblestone. His name is Jehovah, or Ayah, or I am, or Jah, or Yah, or Yahweh. That's the God of the Israelites. That's who Abraham worshipped. Abraham was not an idolater. So the world is running out of fresh water, okay? From India to China to the United States and France, everybody running out of water. Okay? And why are they running out of water? Because of sin. Because the Most High, when Him shut the heavens, nobody can open it. And running out of water, Mexico City's 21 million residents already experience limited access to drinking water. So you can do these eco watch. It tells you the major cities. Why are they running out of water? Brazil, their reservoir fell below 4% capacity in 2015. Okay. South Africa, simply terrifying. Brazil, again. Water supply is 75% empty. Iran. And you have Egypt and Ethiopia on the verge of fighting over their water. You know, which I think Ethiopia is going to get the right to that water because Christians get the right to the earth resources. So if you're not worshiping Christ, you can't fight Christian countries for their resources. It says so in the Bible. 14, let the children first be fed, and then what's left goes to the people. Okay? So that goes for the children of Israel first, then all Christians, then everybody else next. For 14 of 33 countries likely to suffer water shortfalls in the region, including 9 that are considered extremely susceptible: Bahrain, Kuwait, Palestine, Qatar, United Arab Emirates. So most of those Middle Eastern countries, they're already running out of water. And the sea is going to dry up. So if you think the sea can save you, it can't save you. So Galatians 6, do not deceive, God is not to be mocked. And now the scientists are seeing that they can't mock the Most High, because what He says is going to happen, and whatsoever man soweth, He's going to reap it. So who sow destruction on the earth, they're going to also reap that. So wickedness on the earth, they're going to reap that. So in Jamaica, some people say prayer don't work, but we are a praying people. If it wasn't for the ones in Jamaica praying, it wouldn't exist to this day, because as you know, Jamaica was one of the wickedest places on earth. Not even Saddam could have beat them. 1907, they had an earthquake. Jamaica, Port Royal was the wickedest and the richest city in the world. The Most High sunk it to the bottom of the sea. We see Sodom, we see Gomorrah, we see Port Royal, we see ancient Rome, ancient Babylon, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Canaan, ancient, all of them. They are no more because of wickedness. We were scattered into exile and Jerusalem sacked because of our wickedness. And we still don't learn. You're going to listen to scientists who don't know A from Bullfoot, them would I say? So a person wrote that prayer had nothing to do with Matthew missed Jamaica. So Hurricane Matthew was coming to Jamaica. The people from America were there with their news team, and it was going to be a direct hit. When I was down there, there was a 24-hour fasting and prayer chain. And they fasted and they prayed. It was on the radio. I fasted, I prayed. The whole people, a whole bunch. That hurricane said so, and it turned right away from Jamaica. So we prayer got answered. How it got answered, we think the Most High answered it. So we can keep praying and keep righteous. The Most High said, the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So all the Negroes in the earth just need to become righteous and start praying, and then watch the Most High work. Okay? So Matthew floods hit Jamaica and Haiti. So we got a little bit of flooding. We needed the water for the dams, and then it went and it hit, I think, Haiti, Bahamas, I think the Carolinas. That's where Matthew entered with. So it says Matthew prayer, faith, action, help. Okay? And it was a category 5 that was coming to hit us, and it didn't. And in case y'all don't know, Jamaica and the Caribbean go through hurricanes and natural disasters every year. If we didn't have praying people, none of us would be left. Okay? When you see what the tsunami did to I think it was Indonesia, I think it was more than 400,000 people died. So we have to have righteous people. We can't have Muslims in our lands because they pray to Cabal and they pray to Muhammad and stuff like that. We can't have Buddha. We can't have Hindus, because those things are going to cause destruction to come upon our land. Can't have Voodoo, Santeria, Carnival, Bacchanal. None of those things. Can't be worshiping flags or anthems or planets or solar systems or stars or moons. None of those things, because that's where the problem comes in. Because those are not God. They're not the creator. So don't worship those things. No ancestor spirits. None of that stuff. Get it out of your countries. Righteousness is what we need to save us. So you see, when Jamaica was wicked, it went to the bottom of the sea. See there? That's Port Royal. Everybody almost dead, except the few where the Most High safe. We go tell them what happened and to write a report. It was wicked. A lot of piracy, a lot of riches, a lot of murder, a lot of everything that's bad. Just like ancient Sodom. Wickedest city, richest city, sunken to the bottom of the sea. June 7, 1962. 1692, sorry. Okay, so don't repeat the same mistakes. We have more than enough. So it was the richest place on earth, but it still was sunk. So many times you see ancient places sink and get destroyed is because of wickedness. Okay, be assured, Proverbs 11 verse 21, that the wicked will not go unpunished. Okay, and you see these Swedes and all these European countries who rape the world's resources, build up their own countries with slavery, with sacking Jerusalem. Now they turn around and they practice liberal stuff. Look at their countries on its way down. They're importing people now. So they flood the country with more people who worship idols, more liberal people. And then they're like, how dare you? Well, how dare you? You didn't listen to the Bible and the prophecies of Enoch and all the saints that told us what was going to happen. The Most High said, only with our eyes will be able and see the reward of the wicked. So we're seeing the reward of the wicked now. So it said, just as we suspected, this is naturalnews.com. Climate youth puppet Greta Thunberg is controlled by George Soros. And these are the Ashkenazis of the earth. The people who Revelation 2 verse 9 and Revelation 3 verse 9 talks about, who promotes degeneracy, the biggest homosexual parade in the earth, all the scientists that have to do with atheism and theory of evolution. Those are modern theories that their fathers have made up for them to worship. People are monkeys. They say their people are monkeys. But we are Jacob's children. Negro says, you are the children of Israel. You are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Our forefather comes from Adam all the way down to us. And we're the children of Israel. We're the 12 tribes listed in Revelation, who will rule the earth in righteousness. So they don't teach their children the Bible. So we teach our children the Bible, and the Bible hasn't returned void yet. But there's no acid rain, the ozone hole, whatever that is, CO2, cow fart. Every minute is a new story and a new prophecy they come that does not come to pass. So what are they called? False prophets. But the Most High already told us the sea is going to dry up. The islands are going to move out of their places. The climate is going to change. And how we can avoid it is by being righteous. Follow the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the Sabbaths, the holy days, the ordinances, the judgments, and the faith of Jesus Christ. And the Bible is our law book. It tells us how to dress, how to eat, how to share up inheritance, how to punish certain crimes, what is legal, what is not legal. That's the Bible, okay? So that's what we follow. We don't follow people who don't follow the Most High. So you see, the Catholics, the Bible prophesied about them too. 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, they worship idols. They worship Mary, they worship beads. They worship a whole bunch of stuff. They don't follow the Sabbath, the laws, the statutes. They go around kissing pagans' feet, joining up with one world religion full of antichrist. But the Most High say, light doesn't have anything in common with darkness. Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. You're supposed to obey the laws, keep the Sabbath, eat according to the dietary laws, have righteous laws. So they don't have none of that. So they're worshiping satanic stuff. So relax. The Vatican didn't name a telescope Lucifer. Lucifer is helping Vatican astronomers look for whatever they're looking for. That's why you see the stars are dimming now. They're not going to have no stars to study because the stars are not showing their light like they used to when we were little children. Another group installed a telescope nicknamed Lucifer. It's a telescope built by Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics, and according to their website, it stands for LBT, whatever. So it said, why is the Vatican the largest and longest owners of some of these telescopes. You know what I mean? Lucifer is part of the large binocular telescope, which happens to be right next to the Vatican Observatory on Mount Graham in Tucson. Lucifer, which stands for Large Binocular Telescope, Near Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Feed Unit for Extragalactic Research, is a chilled instrument attached to the Large Binocular Telescope. So whatever they up there studying and trying to get themselves into space and looking for, they can't avoid it. The revelation, everything you see in there, it's not going to return void. Okay? So they could have their telescopes all they want. The only thing that's going to save people is righteousness and following the Creator. He's the Creator. He can keep the people he wants and not keep the people he doesn't want. So look at Obadiah. This fulfills Obadiah. They make their nest among the stars and space and telescopes and all of that stuff. But that's not going to save them, because climate change is not something they can stop. Because it was already prophesied. The only thing can stop it is Jehovah and righteousness. Okay. So, water security expert. Middle East water shortages require regional action. So you see in the Middle East already, it's hot. It's getting drier, and the groundwater is running out, because, you know, from the time of old, well water is what they used, and now that's running out. They're using desalination, but the sea's also going to be dried up. So Muslims, the only thing that's going to save you is Jesus Christ of Nazareth, because Jesus is the Jehovah in the flesh. When he comes to earth, he comes in the form of Jesus Christ, because with flesh on earth can't tolerate heavenly flesh. We'll burn up. You remember when the Most High descended on the mountain and the children of Israel were there, and he told them, don't come near, let no flesh come near lest they die, because that's how powerful Jehovah is. So when he comes to earth to live amongst us, he puts on human flesh so that we can tolerate that and not die. See how the mountain smoked when the Most High descended onto heaven, and Moses came back down looking like all different and all glowy? That's when our body's going to be changed. We're going to have a body that lives everlasting, where we can tolerate that. The angels don't have the same bodies as us, because they live forever. We don't. We die sometimes 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, sometimes 1 year, sometimes 100 years, sometimes 1,000 years. Very few Israelites live forever, like Enoch, you know, who were men, and Elijah got translated. And some that have been cursed with everlasting life, well, not really cursed, but if the Most High says they're not going to die, then they're not going to die. So the whole thing about climate change, we in the third world, as they call it, do the least impact on the earth. Okay? But yet still the people like Sweden and China and India and all those countries who do the most, they shout the loudest and want us little countries who, when we recycle everything, they wonder, why do you all do that? Why you don't just throw it out, clear it down and build it from scratch? Do you know how many times I'm remodeling houses and telling them to use the same material and rebuild it? No, they don't want to do that. Oh, it's better to tear it down and build it all over. You throw out your perfectly good fridge, perfectly good everything, and then you take more. Who are the biggest consumers in the earth? It's not the third world. We have always had simple lives. Now we have some elaborate houses now, yes, but we don't have the footprint of damaging the earth that these first world countries have. We don't have it. You don't see us going hunting animals and having them head hung up on our walls and posing with them as trophies, because we respect the Most High's creation. We bathe in our little bath pans sometime, and we use that to wash clothes, or we use it to water the plants. We have always had to conserve water and have to reuse things and have to use things in a way that has the least impact on the environment. So in the wake of all these hurricanes and evacuations, a lot of refugees are going to be caught. The refugees in the Muslim world have to go to Muslim countries. The Christian countries have to take care of their own refugees. That's what our Bible says. We have to take care of those who belong to the family of believers. Whatever they believe in is what they're supposed to look to for salvation. We believe in Jesus Christ, and the earth is his. So all Christian lands, all